I am Ayana Hull. I am a BVIslander. I was born on December 6, 1974 in Territorial, British Virgin Islands, to Corrine Clark at the time and Nelson Hull. My parents were married subsequently, so you will probably know them today as Corrine and Nelson Hull. I grew up in Purcell Estate. That's where my parents grew up. They migrated to the BVI from St. Kitts, maybe at the age of 4 and 5. So they went through the school system here, and then I was born, and 10 years later my brother was born. In terms of that's my background. So I'm a 6th district girl from Purcell Estate. I'm very proud of that. And I went to Simmons, well, it was Daisy School at the time, now Simmons Preschool, and then Infant School, which is now the Enid Scatliff Primary School, and then Rotown Primary School, which is now the Althea Scatliff Primary School, and then the BVI High School, which is now the Elmore Stout High School. So there's a lot of history to my transitioning from childhood to adult. And then I went off to do my tertiary education and came back. So now I'm practicing here as a mutual funds attorney. That's my 9 to 8. And then I do lots of other things in my spare time, like writing books and a lot of church activities. So that's me in a nutshell. In terms of how the Territorial song came about, I know that there has been some talk that there were 2 competitions, one in 2005 and one in 2011. As far as I'm aware, there was no competition that I entered the song into, me and my brother, in 2005. When the song was written first, it was actually written to be in a competition that the Tourist Board had, which was a jingle for the tourism product. And I think when we submitted the song, it wasn't a jingle. It was more of a patriotic song. So it wasn't chosen, but that's the only competition I know, the Tourist Board competition. And the song was written quite a while, and then it just sat there, because when I wrote it, I did write the lyrics to be more patriotic than a jingle, but I entered it anyway. And I think the feedback that came back was it wasn't a 2-liner, it was an actual song. So it stayed there, and my brother got involved with it. I wrote the lyrics for it, but Kareem was the first person that sang the song, and he was very helpful with the melody in terms, because he sings. I don't sing. I write the lyrics and I have somebody else sing it. But he was the original recording artist on the song, and we recorded it in someone's house, one of my father's friends in Seacoast Bay. So Kareem, and then it sat there, and Kareem was working at the Premier's office, I think between 2003 and 2007. In the first year, so maybe it was 2004, 2005, the Dr. D. Orlando Smith had his first State of the Territory address. And because he was working with Miss Sandra Ward, they were looking for a song that they could end the State of the Territory address with that would be patriotic and national. And he said, oh, I have a song. And he submitted it to Miss Ward, and it was played as the final song at the end of Dr. Smith's State of the Territory address as Oh British Virgin Islands. Now, when the song was written, it was written as Oh Beautiful Virgin Islands. When Kareem submitted the song, I think someone indicated that there may be a confusion between us and the US Virgin Islands, and for the purposes of the production, let's change it to Oh British Virgin Islands. The public seemed to have liked it. All the flags were waving, and for whatever reason, I think it became pegged as an NDP song, because we like to say at church that politics have become a religion in the BVI, so everybody follows politics as if it's God. But I don't subscribe to that. I thought it was a national song that I wrote, and it wasn't for any particular party, but because of the party that brought it out, I think it got lost a bit in politics. The NDP government, I think, returned to power in 2011 and had a competition. By then, I think the song was very well known because it was played on all the radio stations. Persons had been asking for copies of the song. So I had heard a lot of negative things, and it sort of discouraged me. And when the competition was opened, I didn't submit Oh Beautiful Virgin Islands, and that's the truth. I had heard that I wasn't indigenous enough. My brother and I, my parents were not from here, and the credit for a territorial song for this country should go to an indigenous BVIslander. So I didn't submit it. And I think somewhere along the competition, before the deadline closed, word got to my father that I didn't submit it, and he called me and I said, I'm not going to submit it. The song was written, and I am the author, and I can decide whether I submit it or not. And I was very defiant about it. I don't know what happened, but cooler heads prevailed, I think, maybe a day or two before the competition closed. And I submitted the song. And I didn't hear anything after that. I think after that was when they had the Defining Ourselves production up at HLSCC. And I was invited to attend. I think it was Miss Brenda Letsome-Tai that had called. And so we went to there. And Deanna Watley, well, maybe I should backtrack. So Deanna Watley sang the song at the State of the Territory address with the 2007, the 2003, 2004 government. And her voice became the voice of the song. So naturally, when they asked for the recording for the actual competition, which is the only competition we entered into at the government level, we asked Deanna to record it. And she performed it on the day. And when the song was sung, I thought it probably had a leg up on the others because persons had already heard it so much, and they identified with the lyrics in the song. So it had a unanimous vote in the crowd, and then subsequent to that there was a voting online, and I think it also had a fair margin in terms of the votes there. So in terms of the transparency, I think it was had. And so forth. And that's really how the song got to where it is right now. In terms of what inspired me to write the song, a more patriotic song, notwithstanding the tourist boards competition, I don't believe that I come up with these ideas on my own. I believe that they're put into my spirit. I really don't have the time to sit around and try to write territorial songs. I really don't. But I think I have this fight with God because it's the same inspiration I had to write Financial Services Demystified and the Pentateuch. I mean, to take on the challenge to try to rewrite the whole Bible for teenagers was difficult. But it comes to me that way, and I fuss with God that you're giving me all these national ideas that can't make any money, and I would like an idea that can make some money. And I think I've prevailed now. I think we've won, and that will come soon. But that's the way it came. It came into my spirit that you need to write a song as a territorial, national, patriotic song. So I followed that instruction. And when the tourist sports competition came up, I entered it. So I didn't write the song to enter that. The song was written by that time, so I entered it. And probably not paying enough attention to what a jingle really is, but you know, that was indicated to me that it's not a jingle, it's a song. And so I left it because I knew that it was written for such a time. So I left it, and it probably stayed there for 8 to 10 years. I think the song has been written quite some time. And, you know, that's what happened. I think my national perspective is deposited into my spirit. I don't sit down and try to think on what can I come up with today. It doesn't happen like that. It just comes in, and then I act upon it. How do I feel when I hear the song sung? I feel national pride, which is the reason it was written. I think that we have to build the national pride in this country. And I often fuss with my politician friends saying that, you know, national pride begins at our borders. If I am able to come home and feel like I'm at home, then I feel better, because when I go to someone else's country, I have to queue up. So I feel that when I hear the song, and I'm hoping that it can transcend throughout the rest of this country. I hope that we can learn to live with each other. I hope that we can break down the barriers of who people think are indigenous and those who people think are not, and just get along like BVIlanders. I hope we can all see the struggle that our forefathers went through to get us here to this point. I hope that we can all see that we can't fight against each other while everyone else comes in and take over this country. I hope that we can see that education is important. I hope we can look, it's a little brown right now. I'm fussing with the way the country looks because, you know, part of the song is that green and brilliant are our hillsides. They replenish our hopes and pride, and I hope we can feel that. So that's what I feel when I hear it. I'm okay when adults sing it. I get really emotional when children sing it, because they are really the future, and they have no airs about them, and they have no agenda, and they're innocent. So they do not take the view that they do not want to sing this song. So it feels pure and it feels innocent when children sing it. And I cried once, and that was as a function at New Life. I believe it was during Hero Sunday. And I was overwhelmed then. And I think it's the only time I've cried when I've heard it. But the children really get me to a place where I think this feels right. I think in the next 20 years, we will have gotten someplace in terms of building the national pride and getting BVIlanders to feel good that the BVI is a country, that we can live here, that we can born our children here, that we can be happy to have a maroon passport and not worry about a blue one or whatever other color one, and feel good about being a BVIlander. That's what I hope to achieve with the song. It will take some time, but I think if I'm not around, I think we'll get there.